What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another edition of Giants Collective. As always, joined by Adriana down there, Anthony over there, Chris down there in the corner. Always want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. Fireworks going off. Sleeper and SeatGeek for sponsoring this show this football season. Appreciate them coming on board. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple. That'd be great. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram. And if you want to become a member, get the really cool emojis, all you got to do is click the join button. So hit that thumbs up and subscribe, ring the bell. And for once, we're going to have fun tonight. It's almost, they used to say there ain't no party like a Diddy party, right, Diddy Quan? Well, I'll tell you what, the Giants danced all over their face. And I'll save mine till the end. Adriana, you were there. Take us through what that felt like, watching the Giants just kick the snot out of the Philadelphia Eagles.
It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. There were a couple Eagles fans in my section. I got to watch them leave during the fourth quarter, which was fantastic. Never happens. Usually we're the ones who are leaving early. I was prepared to leave at halftime. I said to my cousin, get ready. We're leaving at halftime and we'll be in bed by midnight. And honestly, I'm looking forward to that.
What happened there? No clue what the hell just happened there. My things got all screwed up.
But keep going. I was enjoying hearing you talk about.
No, I don't know what the hell happened there. Normally I have like that thing on the side. It wasn't there on the side. It was 3 people. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. We're back.
We're back.
It was amazing. There were a lot of Eagles fans there too. And the fact that like the first, all I know is the first 2 plays with Saquon. And I was like, oh my God, here we go again. Like this is going to be the same shit, different day. We see it all the time. And then the Giants get the ball and Jackson Dart and they march it right down the field and score a touchdown. I was like, no way we have more points than Philly. All right, we're holding on to this lead. And it was just like the energy from the Giants fans, you could feel it. Like it felt like, okay, we have some momentum here, but like we're still the Giants. So, until it gets closer towards the end, there was a lot of excitement, a lot of hype. Like Jackson Dart, they were driving right towards me because I was sitting behind one of the end zones. So to see the Jackson Dart touchdown come to fruition was amazing. Then Jalen Hyatt was the same corner. I got a video of this guy in front of me who's an Eagles fan, and the font of his text message is like literally this big. And he opens up his phone and I see a text that says, "This is embarrassing." When I don't remember what the score was at that point. And the person starts responding and he's like, "You should be here," and doesn't even send the message, closes the phone, puts it away. And I was like, oh my God, this is just amazing to be on this side of things. And my row was mostly Giants fans. Everyone's high-fiving, screaming. I'm turning around. There's Eagles fans behind me and I'm just watching their faces and they're shaking their heads. And then when Brian Burns gets the sack, eruption. When Jackson Dart comes out of the tent after Russell Wilson has 2 snaps and look like trash, standing ovation. Everyone's like, Dart, Dart, Dart. It was electric. It was so much fun. Like the Chargers game was great, but this game, next level. To have that many Eagles fans in the building and watch them closely just slowly like collapse and be like, oh my God, we're not coming back. This game is over. We are losing to the Giants and we are losing ugly. Going down in the history books. It was so beautiful. Just loved every second of it.
Yeah. Before we get to Anthony, just want to say a big shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this portion of Giants Collect. Of course, you could have went and got your tickets and watched Jackson Dart and Cam Scatter run all over the Eagles. Well, you can do it for future games too. All you got to do is click the link in the description and enter the promo code Giants Collective 10 for 10% off your tickets. So big shout out to them. Make sure you get your discount.
Hot tip, you can use that promo code more than once.
I've
used it a few times and it's every time.
So for the whole year, until they tell us otherwise, get 10% off your tickets. Anthony, listen, I went back and I watched your stream with Alex, and you were in rare form, and you made me proud. So let us have it, man. What were your feelings about the game?
I was in rare form. I was really excited. I was so excited, in fact, if you can't hear it, I kind of lost my voice.
Who's going to super chat? So I'm going to headbutt the microphone.
Yes, I was headbutting my microphone quite a bit. I had a really bad headache after that live stream. I got a little bit out of control, but you know what? It's all in the good spirit. It's all in the honor of our guy, Cam Skattebo. Oh my God, do I love watching Cam Skattebo play football. Just the way that he runs through people. He puts his head down. So does Jackson Dart, and I love it. I love that these guys are just not afraid. No, Chris. You know me. Run into the contact. I want the contact. I want my quarterback to energize the team and pick up those extra yards. Look at what it did for the Giants when he was fighting for that extra yardage. I said it. It made a fucking impact against those shitty Eagles, okay? It made an impact. So keep putting your head down and running through that brick fucking wall, Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo. That's what I need in my life. I've got it now, and my life feels complete. It's all that was missing was Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo.
Chris, we did the game together. I think we sat there in disbelief for most of it. What'd you think about the game?
And I love the energy that Jackson Dart brings. But, Anthony, I can't agree with my quarterback diving headfirst like a missile into a defender as he's going out of bounds and making contact with his head first. I do not want to see Dart continue to do that. The week before, I liked that he started to slide a bit. I understand there's times where you want to put your body in line, but I didn't like him using his head like a projectile into a defender. I don't want to continue to see that from Dart.
I get it. I loved it, but I get it if you don't. But look at Baker Mayfield right now. MVP. He is running through contact. Patrick Mahomes, another MVP candidate, running through contact. Real quarterbacks don't slide, man. Real quarterbacks play football. This is football. It's physical. We're grown men. Run through their fucking face. Jackson.
I love it. Fire them up, you fucking Eagles.
But regardless, that is the first time I could remember in recent memory after a Giants-Eagles game where I felt like the Giants thoroughly outplayed them on both sides of the line of scrimmage. The defense was exceptional. They didn't give up a point in the last, 2.5 quarters of that football game. They completely shut the Philadelphia Eagles out. Jalen Hurts looked like trash. So you got to mention the defense. The defense was phenomenal. But the player of the game for me, and I'm so beyond excited for Jackson Dart. I feel like we have a franchise quarterback in the making. I love Cam Skattebo, but the offensive line, I continue to hammer home. This offensive line for 3 straight weeks now has been great. They've been the best unit on this football team, in my opinion, overall over the last 3 weeks. So they only continue to look better. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what this team could if they could build off of this. But that was a signature win for Jackson Dart. And I think it brought a lot of hope into this fan base for the remainder of this year. The Dable getting fired talk in season is over. After that win, we're going to see if Jackson Dart can continue to progress throughout the course of this year, and we'll revisit that at the end of the year. But now, as a Giants fan, if you could find a way to beat the Broncos, and I'm sure we'll talk about them throughout this stream, that will not be an easy game. Broncos haven't lost in Denver since October of last year. They have the second-ranked defense in the NFL, but we're still going to talk about the high off the Eagles win. But if you could ever find a way to beat the Denver Broncos, suddenly you're looking at an opportunity to sweep the Philadelphia Eagles and maybe playing for first place, potentially, if some things play out over the next couple of weeks. So it's just crazy, guys. And I always talk about how if you don't flip-flop your takes when it comes to the NFL, you're not being honest. Each week, you can completely change your opinion. Football's unlike any other sport. Baseball's a 162-game season. You get, you feel it out throughout the course of the year. One game could change your outlook on the entire franchise from within a season. And I think that did it for a lot of Giants fans. I was doom and gloom. I think most Giant fans were doom and gloom going into that game. You're without Malik Neighbors. Jackson Dart goes in there without Malik Neighbors, without Darius Slayton. Granted, they were missing their best defensive player, but regardless, he went in there without his 2 best weapons against the arch rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, and he put on a display. 2 straight weeks where he scored a touchdown, I think, on his first 2 possessions. He has scored a touchdown on his first 3 drives in all 3 starts. The kid's been phenomenal. He's just as good as you could have hoped for 3 starts into his career.
When we started doing the game, I remember saying to you, Chris, did they switch uniforms? Because we did to the Eagles what they normally do to us, especially at the very end of the game when we just watched our offensive linemen bully, just kick the shit out of their defensive line, push them back 4 or 5 yards, and it didn't matter if it was Skattebo, it didn't matter if it was Tracy, it didn't matter if it was Dart, it didn't matter if it was me, it didn't matter if it was you. They were getting 5-6 yards of carry and ran the clock right the hell out, just beat the living shit out of them. They beat them till they quit. And I don't remember the last time that happened either, when it actually meant something. Now, the end of 2022, or not 2022, maybe 2023, they did that where they killed them 27-10, but it didn't mean anything for either team.
Yeah.
Well, I love Skattebo. I always have loved Skattebo. That's been my guy because, as I've said before, if there's anybody that embodies my personality, it is that dude. He is just a crazy ass, unhinged psychopath. And my wife also says, yeah, that's definitely you, hitting your head on brick walls and shit. Yeah, it's dumb stuff that I do, but not quite like him. I mean, he's just an animal. But I love Cam Scatterbo. I feel like him and Dart have brought a total different energy to this team. They don't know that we're the shitty Giants. They don't know we're supposed to get our ass kicked. They don't know. As they said, Rocky, and I put this on Twitter today, as I said, they come out there, they go, they don't know it's a damn show. They think it's a damn fight. And they fight every week. Coming off the Saints loss, which pissed me off even more now. Because, you know, we should have lost 5 straight turnovers. We moved the ball all day on them. That might be the absolute lowest. And I always look for rock bottom, and maybe that was it, because the turnaround in a short week to go against the defending champions, a team that has absolutely dominated you, a team that their fan base just looks like, oh, it's just the Giants, that's a bye week. They suck, they're garbage, you're trash. Well, how does it feel to get your ass beat in by trash, by a last place team in front of everybody to see? You got the shit beat out of you. Saquon Barkley had 31 yards on his first 2 carries, and he had 10 carries for 27 yards the rest of the game. Completely shut him down. We saw him run out of bounds. He didn't even try to get extra yards at the end of the game because he quit. He's a fucking quitter. He got what he wanted. He got his money. Then he got a big extension. He got his ring. And now he used the Eagles just like he used us. He goes, I don't need to give any more damn effort. You know, I got to save myself in them Diddy parties. I know you do, Saquon. It's all right. You can do what you got to do. But I feel great. And as I said before he went live, I made a lot of friends on Twitter. Eagle Twitter, I think I just absolutely imploded it. Oh, I gotta. So I'll say this to Eagle fans right now. Whatever God you pray to, you better pray that we don't sweep you. Because if we sweep you,
yeah, you think we're bad now?
Yeah, deactivate. Just deactivate. Because I'm not gonna let it. You think I was bad this week, it'd be over. Be over. So obviously that's a big win for the Giants, and they have to build off of it. We had good feelings after the Chargers game, threw it all away with a bad loss to the Saints. Have big feelings off the Eagles. Denver's very tough. The Giants, we don't know what Giants team we're going to get, and that's actually a good thing, because most weeks we knew we were going to get a shitty Giants team. At least now we know that's in there. The best thing about that, not only being the Eagles, but we watched the rest of the division lose. The Panthers beat the Cowboys. The last second field goals behind you. The Carolina Panthers beat the Cowboys. The Bears beat the Commanders last night. Anthony, how big is that for the Giants? Because the Cowboys and Commanders play each other this week. So if we take care of business, we could actually be in third place, not being last anymore.
I think it's huge. I mean, listen, when I look at this NFC East, I think it's wide open. The Giants are only 2 games back. Like you said, the Commanders lost. The Eagles, we just beat them. If the Giants can go on the road, it's got to be 1 game at a time. You got to handle the business in front of you. But if they can go on the road and beat the Broncos this week, and then they go into Philadelphia the following week with a chance to be 500, I mean, that's the kind of momentum that we haven't had as a New York Giants fan base in a very long time. That would be a major opportunity for this team to potentially sweep Philly with a chance for 500. And I think that the Dallas Cowboys, they can't stop a nosebleed on defense. That defense is terrible. I don't think that they're a good football team. I think the Giants beat themselves in that week 2 matchup. And I think now with Jackson Dart on the field, they win that game, in my opinion. And when you're looking at Washington, that's an old football team with a lot of injuries. Whenever you have the oldest roster in football, you are bound to run into injuries and run out of steam midway through the year, in my opinion. And I think that's what we're seeing with the Washington Commanders. And then there's the New York Giants, man. I think that the Commanders, that the Giants have a real opportunity here to turn their season around with the new energy that they're getting from these players. It's not just Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. If you're looking at the defensive side of the ball, he's in his 2nd year with the Giants, but man, is he coming into his own as a leader of this defense. Brian Burns is playing at a defensive player of the year level. This defensive line is truly incredible. Burns called a players-only meeting this past week prior to that Thursday night game to get the schematics changed defensively. It got done. Shane Bowen changed the defense, tailored it to the strengths of this defense. Now you've got guys like Cordell Flott in position to make those big plays. Dane Belton going out there, forcing a turnover. And Brian Burns now has 2 games this season with double-digit sacks. He has 7 sacks in 6 games. Again, defensive player of the year caliber player. But his energy on the defensive side of the ball, his leadership is leading that defense to new places. And then on the offensive side of the ball, the leadership of Scadaboo, of Dart. Now we just got to see, are they going to find the receiver out there? Are they going to go out there and add some firepower to that offense to really stack up with this NFC East? I don't know. I think that's going to be determined after this upcoming game. Do they beat the Broncos on the road? Then do they say, okay, now let's go all in on Jackson Dart? If they lose that game, maybe we're back to square one. We'll see what happens. Again, you got to take it one game at a time. But the NFC East, everybody losing except for the Giants this weekend. That was a beautiful sight to see. Made the weekend even better. If you were celebrating on Thursday, you were celebrating the whole weekend. But now you got to get on to Denver this upcoming week and hopefully see this win streak come to fruition. But Jackson Dart definitely gives me hope that they could put a win streak together and that he can beat some more of these NFC East teams and potentially make this season into something.
Hope is a word we haven't used very often since we started doing this show. Chris, how big is it for the Giants? Is momentum shifting in our favor?
That's one week at a time for me. I mean, I'm excited. I'm thrilled. It was one of the most fun weeks I've had as a Giants fan in a long time, obliterating the Eagles and then watching our other 2 divisional rivals lose. But it's one week at a time. They beat Denver. Then the thoughts of playoffs may start to creep into my head, but I'm not there yet. I got to see them stack back-to-back wins together. They haven't won back-to-back games since 2023. Can I see it first before we start talking about playoffs? I have a lot of respect for this Denver team. I know they didn't look good in London against the New York Jets. I'm not taking them lightly. If the Giants were ever able to win this game, yeah, at that point, then I'm going to say to myself, yeah, this team they're going to go the distance this year. They're going to at least be playing meaningful football late into the season. I don't know if I'll conclusively say they're definitely making the playoffs, but if you win this week, yeah, playoffs are firmly in my sights as a possibility for the New York Giants. And I do think that this division is up for grabs. I don't think anybody's running away with it. The Eagles do not look like the Eagles of the past. Saquon Barkley looks like he's Ron Dane this year. Their offensive line looks very vulnerable. So I think they're ripe for the picking. But before I start talking about that, let's pile a couple of wins together before I completely jump on we're going to the playoffs train. But they win this week. Yeah, I think I'm hopping aboard that train.
Adriana, how big is it that the rest of the teams lost? We took care of our own business, and then we watched the other 2 get picked off, which, again, 2 games out of first, and we own the tiebreaker with Philadelphia right now. Is division up for grabs, or is that just a pipe dream?
I think it can be. I think the most frustrating thing about this is that it's just so classic Giants. Like, if you look back on the first 3 games of the season plus the Saints, like, no one expects this team to be perfect. We knew there were going to be issues and growing pains, starting a rookie quarterback, Russell Wilson, the whole thing. But it's so frustrating that any one of those games, if we're 3-3 right now, whether we beat the Cowboys, we beat the Saints, the Commanders, any one of them, it's just a whole different conversation, right? And maybe we are talking about a big trade that they made this week for a wide receiver because they're going all in and they think they can beat Denver and they're looking at it, from a different perspective. So it's definitely frustrating, but it was a really enjoyable weekend. And, I think, like Chris, if they can go ahead and they can beat the Broncos and they can prove that what we have seen versus the Chargers and the Eagles are more likely as to what this football team is capable of and what it should be week in and week out than versus what we saw in the Saints with Jackson Dart, because the first couple games without Andrew Thomas, without Russell Wilson at this point, it's hard to factor them in the equation. They're obviously very different games with how that all went, but, we still could have beat the Cowboys. But I think, in the Jackson Dart era, if you will, if they can go out and they can beat the Broncos, this is, again, a very different conversation that we are having next Tuesday, because you're saying, well, now you've got more proof that this team that is beating really good teams like the Chargers and the Eagles and the Broncos, this is a good football team. This isn't a team that has questions about wide receivers, that has questions about the defense and the scheme and where the players should be and, why Abdul Carter doesn't have more sacks, whatever people are complaining about. So I think the Broncos is a really big test for them. And I think if they come out with a win on the other side of that, whether it's by 1 point or by 10 points, if they win that game, I think that's the biggest momentum swing that we will see for this Giants team for a while to come. Like Chris said, they haven't won back-to-back games in 2 weeks. And I also think that that Saints game, I think, was a big wake-up call for guys like Dart and Scat. And we've heard about it in the way that they have talked about it in the post-game press conferences. We saw Cam Scatterboo going on Twitter and apologizing. These guys, and I know, like, I'm with Chris on the, like, Jackson Dart, just for the love of God, slide, please. Like, I'm begging you to take less hits. But this is who they are. And I think because of the way that they've come in and they're so competitive and they're so, like, over the top and proving to everyone, like, we're going to, take the hits and we're here to win. Like, we did not come to play. You guys better get on our level. I think we're starting to see that. And I think they were so, like, horrified by the Saints game that they were like, this is never going to happen again. And look, they're never going to be perfect and they're going to make mistakes. But I think that could be the biggest factor, that if we go out against the Broncos and play well, I think that Saints game is really in the back of their head. Like, we are never letting this happen again. And they both said, like, that we felt like that loss was on us. It was our fault. And we're not doing that. We're not going to be the reason this team loses in the future. So I like the accountability. I think the energy, the toughness that they bring is really showing in the locker room. I think it's contagious. And I just want to see it again on Sunday so badly.
It's definitely different energy. It was nice to beat the Eagles and kick their ass and embarrass them. And they just dominated them. We were the much better team on Thursday. But to sit back and know you take care of your own business and then watch it happen to the other teams was fantastic. This is a huge game for the Giants, no question. Denver's a very tough place to play. But I feel like if the Giants go out there and do what they did against Philadelphia, they can easily win. The Jets are terrible. Awful. They're an awful team. So we can talk about Denver's defense all you want. Jackson Dart's not going to hold on to the ball and take 9 sacks. He's not Justin Fields.
I agree.
That's not going to happen. The Giants are a much better team than the Jets. The Jets are, I mean, for a long time we've been, kind of intertwined with the Jets for good reason. We've both been terrible. The Jets have like no future. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't watch a lot of Jet games because obviously a lot of times they, intercept the Giants. I watched that Jet game this past week. I wouldn't be stunned if Aaron Glenn gets fired before the end of the year. And it's
what was he doing for the end of the half?
It's his first year as a head coach. Some of the decision making by the Jets in that game was awful.
It's bad.
Awful.
It's bad. So, I mean, listen, I know this is tough, but I do feel like if the Giants can beat the Eagles, there's no reason to think they can't beat the Broncos, because I know the Eagles have issues and they were obviously missing Jalen Carter. That's a big loss to them. But, they had Devontae Smith. They had Dallas Goedert, who's on my fantasy team. Thank you. And they had Devontae Smith. They had Saquon. I mean, they had all their weapons on offense, and they didn't do shit for, 38 minutes of that game. Our defense shut them down completely. So I feel like if we can beat Philadelphia the way we beat them, there's no reason to think they can't win and play a good game and beat Denver. They can't do the shit they did against New Orleans. You're not going to beat anybody playing like that. But if you take care of the ball and you don't make mistakes and your defense does force a couple of turnovers, the Giants could easily come out of there with a W. And like you've all said, you win that game. With how weak this division's been right now and how it seems like everybody's very vulnerable, I think Dallas is terrible. I still think they're the worst team in this division. I've thought that since the beginning of the year. I haven't changed my mind. They should have never tied Green Bay, and they shouldn't have beat us. They should be 1-5 right now. They're not a good. They're not a good.
They might have the worst defense in the NFL.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. So I feel like if you're 3-4, you asked any Giants fan before the year started and said we're going to be 3-4 after 7 games, I think a lot of Giants fans would have signed up for that. So it's there for the taking. You beat Denver, and then you do have that big game against Philadelphia. And if there was any way you went in there and won and became 4-4 and you swept the Eagles, now you really are saying we could win this division. It's funny you mentioned it, Chris, because it really is amazing how every game is so emotional. Every game is here. You're at an ultimate low, you're at an ultimate high. Every week, the game is so much. So you're so emotionally invested. That's what makes it such a great game. Yeah. Is how much emotionally invested you get in each game, because each game means so much. When we talk about the future, the Jets have done. What do you think about the Giants' future? How bright is this with seeing these two rookies who put themselves on notice for the world to see? Primetime game, the Giants ain't won a primetime game on Thursday in 10 years. These two kids said, fuck that. We're not part of that. We're going to start our own tradition. We're going to start winning on primetime. What do you think? I mean, Daniel Jones, and not to bring Daniel Jones up, but what did he win? 1 game on primetime for us?
Yeah,
It wasn't
he missed
good.
1 for 18.
Yeah.
Right?
Him and
So
Jackson Dart have the same amount of primetime wins in a Giants
There you
uniform.
go.
It's insane.
How bright is
That's
the Giants'
crazy.
future?
Yeah, it's bright. I mean, I'm still not completely sold on the head coach, which is a huge part of it. And we'll
Yeah.
see how Dable finishes out the year, or just the whole coaching staff in general. I do
Agreed.
think, like we talked about, Bowen did a better job this week. Well, hopefully he could, continue to grow and get better. And we still got a long season ahead of us. And hopefully I feel a lot better about the coaching staff at the end of the year. But Baddog, I mean, I think it's fair to say at this point, it is far from a finished product.
Absolutely.
I still think they need to continue to improve the offensive line. But the offensive line is in a better place than it's been in years for this team. And obviously, a main part of that is Andrew Thomas. Let's be honest. He's been healthy for the 3 weeks. It's not a coincidence that the offensive line has looked significantly better. But the offensive line looks a lot better than it has in a long time. The last 3 weeks. And Dart plays a factor in that as well. His pocket presence has been great. He's been able to extend plays. And the defensive line, we all know that that's a strength of this team. So in the trenches, I think the Giants are strong. Obviously, Neighbors is a great future piece. Just got to hope he stays on the field. We need another weapon. We know that. But, yeah, I think there's pieces in place. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to the quarterback. That's all there is to it. I'm not saying that the quarterback is the be-all, end-all. You could have a great quarterback and a horrible team, and you're going to struggle to win. Or you could have a decent quarterback and a great overall team like the Colts do this year, and you win football games. So the quarterback is not the be-all, end-all. But when you have a quarterback that you know is a guy that's going to give you an opportunity to win each and every week, that goes a long way towards improving a team very quickly. We saw it last year with the Commanders. Not that I'm comparing Dart to Jaden Daniels quite yet, but I think the fact that Dart has shown us a lot of promise these 3 weeks, yeah, I think if you're a Giants fan, you have to feel that the future is much brighter than it was after 3 weeks, after getting to see Jackson Dart for the last 3 weeks, after getting to see this offensive line improve over the last 3 weeks. We talked about how Brian Burns has been fantastic. The pass rush is there. The secondary played better this past week. Cordell Fott looked great. There's holes in the defense. We know that. Still not great against the run, although they were great against the run this week against Saquon Barkley. But, yeah, Baddog, my biggest question mark with this team right now is not so much the players, although I do think there's more improvements that are needed if we're going to be a Super Bowl caliber team. It's the coaching staff.
John, how bright is the future for the Giants?
It's bright, and it feels good to say that, because I think if you look at the whole of this football team, we have a lot of really talented players that are going to be here for the next few years. I think the offensive line is probably the biggest concern from a longevity standpoint, but outside of that, the defensive line is looking damn good. We've got Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter under long-term. Kayvon, we have at least here for 1 more year. You've got Newbin, Phillips, and Flott, who are all pretty young, and Flott's in his last year, but he might resign here. And if not, they can upgrade there. Adebo and Holland are both on long-term deals. You've got Neighbors under long-term, Dart, Scat, Tyrone Tracy. I'd personally like to see them upgrade at the slot position, but we've got Theo and Daniel Bellinger and whatever. I just feel like the bulk of this team is so young that that's a reason to be excited, that there is a lot of talent on this team. And I think for me, that's one of the reasons why I have such a gripe with this coaching staff. And I don't want, I want to keep winning, obviously, but I don't want the wins to mask what we've seen the bulk of the time under Brian Daboll, is that he's proven to not be a great head coach. And like Chris said, we can talk about the quarterback. They can mask some of these problems, but, we have had years of guys who we've gotten nothing out of them. And they're just essentially like useless and end up being kind of wastes on this roster, which is unacceptable. So, and then you look at some of the young guys that we have, and they should be continuing to grow year after year. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited. For me, the biggest one comes with Jackson Dart, because I was really a proponent of, I feel like he's a project quarterback and he needs to sit and learn. And the fact, wasn't on board with throwing him in there week 4, was definitely concerned about that. But I am really impressed by the fact that he is improving so quickly from week to week, that alone is making me feel like this is just the beginning of Jackson Dart. And with good coaching and with a good scheme and with the continued talent that, they're finding for him and whatever, that this offense could be a powerhouse offense
and by
in
the
a
way,
year or two.
This is without Malik Neighbors, by the way.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. So I think that's one of the things, like, we were all optimistic about Jones after his rookie year and some of the things that we saw, and it didn't continue. But there are things that I see from Dart that I already have confidence that he's going to continue to improve and he's only going to get better. And, as much as I like Jones and really rooted for him while he was here as a Giant, he was the quarterback. I wanted the best for him and the team. I really am feeling like Dart's personality is going to be a big reason as to why he succeeds here. And he just is built for it. Eli Manning was more like Jones, but he was able to do it. And I just think that Dart, and, I'm not worried about Scat at all, but I feel like Dart, after that Saints game where he turned the ball over 3 times, like, there were different ways that could have gone from his perspective and how he performed after that. And the fact that he said, that's never happening again. And I'm going to go out there 4 days later and fucking light up the Philadelphia Eagles without my boy Malik Neighbors. Bring it on. And I love it. I'm on board with Jackson Dart. He's converted me.
Anthony, you were a big Jackson Dart fan to begin with. How bright is the Giants' future?
I think it's really bright. I think the Giants have something special at the quarterback position. And like I said in the summer when we were previewing the preseason, going through training camp, what did I want to see from Jackson Dart? Poise. When you see quarterbacks who have elite poise when they're young, when they have the pocket presence, that eyes in the back of their head ability to sense the pressure, evade it, and step up and make those throws, that's rare. And that's what all of the best quarterbacks in the NFL possess. And Jackson Dart is showing signs that he possesses that trait as well, that poise and that pocket presence. So I've been super impressed with him. And that's why I think his ceiling is just so high when compared to other young quarterbacks that you see around the league. He just has that it factor. He has that unteachable trait in the pocket. And the other trait that I think is unteachable but separates good quarterbacks from bad quarterbacks is confidence. I don't think you can really teach confidence. I think you're born with it. I think you have to grow with it. And I think it's something that Jackson Dart has a surplus of. And I think that's why he's so special and why I think the future is so bright, because the Giants seem to have something special at the quarterback position. But they have special talent elsewhere too. Cam Scatterbo. They've got young guys on the defense. This is just a very young football team. A lot of these good players are in their first, second, third season. They're all growing into their own. I mean, even Abdul Carter, he leads the team in pressures. He doesn't lead the team in sacks. Brian Burns does. He has more pressures this season than Brian Burns, according to Pro Football Focus. That's incredible. So he's not finishing the play. He's not getting the sacks. But we've seen this before. We've seen really good players, maybe early in their career, they get a lot of pressures, and then they start converting those into sacks in year 2, year 3. So young roster, really talented young players. The future is certainly bright. Now, there is a kind of black cloud hanging overhead. We'll see if this coaching staff has the it factor and has the ability to coach these guys up. Will they even be here next year? Who knows? But I do think we've seen enough potential. We've seen enough flashes of potential from this young roster to think there is talent here. Now it's just about putting the rest of the talent in place and putting the talent on the sidelines to coach these guys properly. And then we can move forward and actually have a very competitive football team in a short order. And again, I think it all starts and ends with the quarterback position. And I really do believe in Jackson Dart.
The one thing I'll say about Dart and Scatterbo especially is their energy is infectious. And I feel like that rubs off on the players. And you can see them being energized and being exciting and amped up and ready to go. And when you win a big game like that, I said it 2022, winning builds culture. And when you see your rookie quarterback go out there and have a performance like that, where again, he's going right down the field and scoring on the opening drive. He scored on the opening 2 drives again. He's leading by example. He's leading in the huddle. He's doing this in his 3rd start against our hated rival, again, in front of the world to see in a game that nobody picked us to win. I think it goes a long way. And I think that when you see a guy with that kind of confidence, like you mentioned, Anthony, the team's going to rally around him. They're going to say, okay, we believe in this kid. And when that happens and the team starts to believe in themselves and they start to play for one another, and again, that becomes an infectious thing, you can start stringing a lot of wins together. So there is a lot of young talent here. And I'm not going to get into this now, but I'm just going to say this. We can talk about this next time. I've been an advocate of saying I could understand if they fired Brian Daboll, whatever, I understand. But I was an advocate of saying, I feel like Joe Shane should get another chance because I feel like he learned from his mistakes. He's been very good the last 2 years. And when you see what the future is with the Giants, Joe Shane has a lot to do with that. Remember,
I agree with you, man. After seeing Dart this past week, I'm strongly leaning towards your line of thinking that, and we got a long way to go.
We do, yeah, absolutely.
We got another 11 games.
Yeah, next week we talk about firing them all, Chris. This is what we do.
But I'm definitely leaning towards your side of things, that I do think Shane's going to stick with this team past this year. Now the team could completely go off the rails and things could change, but I'm more in line with you at this point. You look at this rookie class right now, you can make an argument that we have 2 of the 3 or 4 front runners for offensive rookie of the year. And of course, Abdul Carter on the other side. Last year, I think we could all agree he had a pretty strong draft as well. So I do think Shane is here at least for another year and hopefully longer than that. And we continue to build.
Go ahead, Anthony.
I still need to see more from Joe Shane, and I think that crediting him with Jackson Dart, sure, he gets some credit, but I think we all were saying, and we all kind of had a common belief, Brian Dable picked Jackson Dart. That was Brian Dable's scouting and Brian Dable's selection.
But at the end of the day, Brian Dable is
Joe Shane made the pick. I understand. I get it. But
this Dable's guy.
Jackson Dart's not going to exonerate. I mean, listen, he's Dable's guy, and it's not going to exonerate all the other mistakes that Joe Shane's made for me. I got to see more before I can jump on board. I think that they're both still on a short leash. Again, we're talking about, hey, can we make a playoff run? Is the future that bright? Are we turning things around? I understand all that, and it's exciting because we did just get a big win over the Eagles. We lose by 30 points on Sunday to the Broncos. We're going to be back to doom and gloom. It's, it's an every week league, but this roster, we all said last week, still has a lot of holes, still has a lot of progress to be made. And guys, they have $500,000 in cap space. Joe Shane has mismanaged the cap. He's messed it up this year. That's one of the reasons why they haven't had any wide receiver help come in. It's why they went into that Saints game without an extra receiver who, honestly, in some ways could have made a difference. Maybe they don't have all those turnovers. If they have some better targets to pass to, maybe they're on a 3-game winning streak right now. So again, Joe Shane, I gotta see a little bit more before I can fully get on board with that. And especially because I know that Dable was the guy that got Jackson Dart on the New York Giants.
He's made mistakes, but don't forget he also traded for Brian Burns. That was also
and I'll give him credit for that. That was excellent.
Yeah, and re-signing Thomas and Dexter, which is like a no-brainer. Any other GM with half a brain, why would have done the same thing, except it would have signed them to 10-year deals. But just why I am where I am. But I know there's a lot of comments that are like, Dable's the one who brought in Dart. Like, you guys, like, why would you ever want to get rid of Dable? Again, where have you guys been the last 3 years? Like, you're talking about 3 games. And yes, picking the right quarterback is a big part of this. But anyone with a brain last year also loved Jaden Daniels and Drake May. And if the Giants were in a position to pick one of those players, they would have picked one of them too. So yes, Dart was a good quarterback prospect. There were a lot of people that liked him, but you have to remember, Dable also, he could be a good quarterback coach. It doesn't mean he's a good head coach. So if he's able to help out Jackson Dart and he picked him and he's helped making him better, that's great. He's still not good at a lot of other things that good head coaches are good at and why they're in the league for a really long time. So I think just being like, well, he picked Dart, that's not a good enough reason to keep him. He's helping Dart develop and he's sticking by him. He's his guy, but we don't know if there was another head coach. Maybe they also would have loved Jackson Dart and maybe they also would have traded up to pick him. Like, no one knows how that would have gone. So like Anthony said, like we have all said, like, it's a week-to-week league. We didn't expect them to turn the ball over 5 times and lose to the Saints, just like we didn't expect them to go in and blow out the Eagles. But we all have watched the Giants for a long time, and we all understand that they very well could go into the Broncos and they could play the way they played against the Eagles and they can win that game, or they can do what they did against the Saints and they can look like shit and they can lose like they did to the Cowboys a couple of years ago, 40-0. So this team, until they prove that they can play consistently well, regardless of who the opponent is, that's what's most important. But, you know, we all watched the Falcons beat the Bills last night, I assume. And if you didn't, you saw the score and saw how that turned out. And the Bills are a really good football team. So, you know, anything can happen in the NFL. We have all seen this before. But I think it's a fair statement to say that there's a good portion of this team that's talented, but it's up to the coaches and it's up to the GM to put them in a position to succeed. And that is something that we have all complained about has been a problem. When your captain on the defense before week 6 has to tell your head coach that we have to sit down for a meeting because you don't have the scheme right, and we're telling you to be more aggressive based on what our play is and based on what we think we're capable of, it's a little absurd. a little absurd that we're in week 6 and this is where we're at, that our players have to sit down and tell our coach what to do, that Brian Daboll has to say to him, be more aggressive. Daboll, you're involved in the goddamn meetings every week. Why haven't you said that from week 1? You know who Brian Burns is. You know what Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence are capable of, especially by the time week 3 rolls around, or week 4 for that matter. So, I think it's absurd to go out here and be like, we should all keep the coaching staff because we won 2 games with Jackson Dart. Like, let's take it one day at a time. They were big wins, and we are a fan base who have seen god-awful football play over the last couple of years, and these are exciting wins, and we should celebrate them. But can't put the cart before the horse. We're going into week 7 here. Still very early. Let's see what transpires on Sunday first.
I have a great solution for all this. Let's just win like the next 5 games in a row and just leave no doubt.
I thought you were going to say, let's take some Indica Clown before the game.
No, well, that'd be good too, but they're not sponsoring the show. Who is sponsoring the show is SeatGeek. Make sure you guys get your tickets. Click the link in the description. Enter that promo code Giants Collective 10 for 10% off your tickets at SeatGeek. Let's hear from them. 80 seconds and back with the questions after this. What's going on, guys and gals? You looking for a fun activity? You want to get out of the house? You need something to do? Are you looking for a great gift idea? Well, if so, look no farther than the sponsor of Giants Collective, which is SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Giants season is underway. And say you want to check out Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium? Well, it's easy. Just go to SeatGeek, scroll around, look for the tickets that you want, and SeatGeek's going to have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. That's good. The red dots, well, it's not so good. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use the code Giants Collective for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Giants Collective. Make sure you click that link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring Giants Collective, and let's go Giants! Damn right. Let's go Giants. See, this did this to me again. Where is my sleeper 4 person? Where is my sleeper 4 person? Anthony, I'm bringing you back, I promise. Where is this?
I got lonely for a second.
Where are we? Where are you? Not quite. There we go. Kind of moved us around, but that's okay. We know who each other is here. This portion of the show is brought to us obviously by our friends at Sleeper. Checks out Let me try this again. Check out Sleeper. It's a really fast growing app. Almost 11 million people using the Sleeper app. You can play all kinds of fantasy sports every day. You're going up to 1,000 times the cash. They have 2 great promotions going right now. Click the link in the description. Use that promo code HMA. You get a 100% match deposit bonus up to $100 in your first deposit. Also right now, for a limited time only, click the link in the description. Open an account with Sleeper. You get a free $20. No deposit required. So just open up an account with Sleeper. Use our promo code. Use that link. Get your free $20. If you like it and want to do more, you're still eligible for the 100% match deposit bonus up to $100. So big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this portion of the show. And I can't keep it like this because it's going to drive my OCD crazy. So we're going to do it that way. Jason, thank you. Best win since the 2022 playoff game against the Vikings.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Not even close. Yeah.
Agreed. I don't know if we had any. Do we have any wins after that game? Didn't seem like it. Lou, it says, obviously you can tell she wasn't to answer the question. Is Adriana back on the Daboll train? Because I'll stop the conductor and let you on.
I'm waiting on the side with my bags.
Yeah, I'm not on the Daboll train yet either, but I'm also not calling to fire the guy. At this point, especially with the way Dart and the team looked this past week, I want him to get the whole year and then reassess at the end of the year. Let's see what Dart has for the last 11 games, and let's see how this offense continues to progress. I'm no longer in the boat of even contemplating firing him mid-season. I want to see the whole year with Daboll, the quarterback, and this football team. That's where I'm at with Brian Daboll, and then we'll see what the team looks like going into next year.
I'm on the Shane train, though. I bet on that one for a little bit. SPP Williams. Our guy, SPP. Happy Collective Day. I did my duty scouted Broncos game in London for you. They looked like balls. I forgot you went to that game. Jet 1 yard offense at 28 minutes took the lead later.
Well, I think we all watched that game, and my takeaway with that Broncos team is, I mean, granted, Justin Fields made their pass rush look even better than it is, but their pass rush is phenomenal.
Benito's awesome.
They have 30 sacks this year. They're 10 more than any other team in the league. They're on pace to break the all-time record of 72 sacks by the Bears. So they have a great pass rush. I think we could all agree on that. And then on offense, Shane Bowen has got to play some man press this week because the Broncos get the ball out so fast. They're going to run a lot of bubble screens, a lot of quick slants. Giants have to jam at the line of scrimmage, and the defensive line has to get their hands up to try to bat some of those balls because that's what they do. They get the ball out quick, man. Every play, that's what they were doing against the Jets.
You also got to tackle, and that's another thing we didn't mention against the Eagles. I felt like the Giants tackled very well in that Eagles game.
Yeah.
Very, very well. There was one blown coverage where Jalen Hurts just totally overthrew Devontae Smith. They got to clean that up. It seems like there's one of those every week. Cortland Sutton can definitely be a guy that can get behind the defense. So you got to tighten that up. But Nick Bonito against Andrew Thomas will be a good one to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you. He says, that's why I'm always weary giving up on young players. JMS shut down Jordan Davis. Got to give these young players time to develop. He played great. JMS has definitely gotten better as the years progressed. And again, I don't think it's any coincidence that that's happened since Andrew Thomas has been there.
Yeah, that was his best game by far. But this is why so many of us, I think, have complained about the coaching staff is that Cordell Flott, it's taken, and maybe it's because he's one of the younger players on the team, but it's taken him until year 4 to really play good football. And Kayvon's been up and down. Wandale, I think, up and down. Bellinger, I don't think gets nearly enough time. But, we've seen a lot of the guys who in year 2, year 3, they're supposed to progress. And it feels like they never do with the Giants. And then, of course, they go to other teams and they play well. So, this is like when we talk about Joe Shane, and even it goes back to Gettleman and Reese, like it's statistically impossible to miss on every draft pick. And then they just don't play well here, but they go elsewhere and they play well. So I think you have to look at some point as it's not just the player, it's the coaching staff. And maybe it's a part of it that comes with the pressure of playing in New York. Sure. Maybe some guys like Evan Ingram couldn't handle that, but that's not really the bulk of it with everyone, because when majority of the players leave and they go to teams all over the place and produce, it's not the talent of the player. Maybe a little bit is the mind game again, but the bigger portion is it's something with the coaching staff.
Well, like I said, let's win 5 in a row and put it to rest.
That'd be great.
Dable was definitely concerned about his quarterback when he ran into the tent. And they're actually talking about, we'll talk about that next time. They're actually talking about penalizing the Giants because
stupid.
Peeked his head into the tent. I don't really understand why, but
supposedly he's just going to get like the last I heard today was that him and the organization will both get like 6-figure fines, but that should be all of it.
As long as we don't lose draft picks, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
H50 says, I'd rather have Scatterboom. Yeah,
hell yeah.
Of course. The hell
we banned that play yet? Can we please get rid of it?
They need
so boring.
It was
they can't officiate it correctly.
Oh my God, don't get me started on that. I don't mind the play particularly, whatever. But the fact that they false start every time, they don't even need a tush push. Lane Johnson's taking
Baddog, I can't stand. Every time I watch an Eagles game, I can't keep my eyes off Lane Johnson because it seems like every other play. And I know people say times it perfectly. It doesn't look like to me he times it perfectly because he's moving before the ball snap on every freaking play, tush push or not. I can't stand it, man. The Eagles get away with so many, and I don't normally complain about the refs, but the false start penalties with the Eagles is ridiculous.
Center always moves before he snaps the ball in that tush push. The fact that they did that, I think the fact that they did that 4 straight times on national television, I think that's going to get the attention of the league. I think they did it to themselves as overkill. I honestly do.
I
really
agree.
do.
I think it's going to get banned this offseason. It's annoying that it took it to get to that place, and we're still going to have to deal with the tush push for the rest of the season. But it's about time. Like the amount of players and analysts and people in the NFL who were like, I didn't really hate the tush push, but after having to watch this on primetime 4 times in a row, it's ridiculous. I'm done. And I'm also like, all we hear from the Eagles, from in and outside of their organization, is, oh, Jalen Hurts is such a good runner. Oh, we have Saquon Barkley who ran for 2,000 yards last year. Oh, he can't go 3 inches? You have to do the tush push instead when you have Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley? Give me a fucking break.
You got to ask Diddy. You got to ask Diddy if he can go 3 inches or not. Pause! All right, you left that one open there. Can't help it. Fuck you, Saquon. How about that? But I don't like him. And then the documentary pissed me off. I was over it. Like I was over this until that came out. Like, why rehash it? You know?
I watched it, by the way, over the weekend. It was so stupid. The whole thing was stupid.
Stupid, right?
Yeah, it was so dumb.
Bob, the NFL is petty. They fined Dart $25,000 for high-fiving the ref. Well, you're not supposed to touch the ref. And the ref $1,000 for not throwing a flag. He should have had a flag thrown. The rules are the rules. It was hilarious, but the rules are the rules. $25,000 does seem pretty hefty for
he probably got over 25,000 in jersey sales after that to made up for it.
Yeah.
After the first drive.
Well, people probably thought he was hysterical when he gave the ref a high five.
Everybody ran to the gift shop and grabbed all their dart jerseys. I guarantee there's no dart or scatterboo we had.
Yeah.
Anyway, glad I got my scatterboo when I did. Lucky jersey. Jason, thank you so much. It actually makes me like look forward to going to the game. Not that I wasn't anyway, but now it's like, before the Eagle game, I was like, I just want to watch the rookies the rest of the year. But now they win a game in Denver, and I'm like, shit.
You got something to play for, yeah.
We're in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the Niners are beatable. They got a ton of injuries. They're flying across.
They just lost the linebacker. He's out for the year now. Warner, right?
Warner, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, there's possibility there too.
Yeah.
Jason says crazy. We got Scat in the 4th round. 44 is RB1. Steal of the draft.
Yeah, he's a stud. I don't know how long he's going to be able to play at a high level with all the beating he takes, but when he's out there, enjoy him while you can. He's a beast.
Man, Scat ain't afraid of CTE. CTE is afraid of Scatterboo. Scatterboo doesn't get concussions. Concussions get Scatterboo. That's the way this goes. I love him. I love him too. I haven't liked this player. I haven't liked the player so much in a long time. I mean, really, like it's just something about, again, it's just his infectious, he's just a psychopath, and I'm here for it. Because again, that's my personality. Those type of players, fans love.
He's like, he's like, not that they're the same in terms of running style, but Brandon Jacobs, right? We used to love how he would used to maul people and run people over. Scatterboo brings that energy to this football team.
Anthony mentioned it right at the beginning. And give me a football player at quarterback. Fucking quarterback. I want a football player. They're football players. Yeah. Those guys are football players. That's what they are. They want to play football. They look for contact. They're not going down. He don't want to slide. He wants the extra. Although, Chris, I agree with you. I don't really want to see him leave his feet and leave his head like a long dart.
That's a little.
That was a little. But the funny thing is, I saw Bo Nix do something very similar, and I go, "Oh, Jackson Dart's rubbing off on everybody now." I saw that. I was like, "Oh, look at that. That's a Jackson Dart." That's why John Gruden loved him, right?
I think a lot of quarterbacks do it. We're just not used to it as Giants fans because we had Eli Manning for 20 years. He never did that. Daniel Jones would put his shoulder down. He would lay some heads. He had that one. I think it was against Grady Jarrett, if you remember, on the goal line.
I do remember that.
Against the Colts, right?
I mean, God, I'm old enough to
remember. Falcons, I think. But he had the one against the Colts. He ran over Bobby Okereke, actually. Funny
enough. Yeah, it was the Falcons.
See, I can give Daniel Jones credit when it's due. I can reminisce on some decent.
You remember he laid the block
not
too.
All the way hatred.
Remember the run? I think it was against the Colts. Maybe I can't remember. Maybe it was the Bears where Barkley went from one side to the other, and then Jones was the lead blocker, and he leveled somebody.
Bears.
Yeah, so Jones wasn't afraid to put his body on the line, but that also lended itself to some injuries. So
it looked different when Daniel did it, though.
Yeah.
It just looks different. I don't know why. It just does. Listen, man, Daniel, I'm 6-0 in my fantasy football league. Daniel Jones has been my most consistent guy.
Well,
Crazy
he's
that is.
5-1, so yeah, he's been
He's
good.
played a really easy schedule. So
That helps me out. With the reason I drafted him, But I got three. You need 3 quarterbacks. I have 3 starters. I got Penix, I got Hurts, and I got
Penix. The first half last night was great. Penix early on last night.
They're good. I got a good team, man. I got a
Bills
good
are
team.
broken.
It also helps that a lot of wide receiver ones went down. Like I have Wan'Dale Robinson, Blake Neighbors went down. I have Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill went down. That's the way you win. Fantasy football is a lot of luck. So luck has definitely gone my way so far. Dominic, thank you, buddy. I see him on Twitter all the time. He says it was so nice just to kick the shit out of the Eagles. Crybaby Eagles fans are crying all week about the refs and everything else. They've been crying about Baddog on Twitter. It's just funny. I love it. I love it. Oh, I love fucking with them. I waited years for that win.
It was great.
Seriously. Oh my God. It was fun. Just please, one more time. Just let's sweep them. It'd be amazing.
Oh, would be so glorious.
The division is definitely tightening up, though, and that's another really encouraging thing long term. Like, we just beat the Eagles in convincing fashion. I can't remember the last time we did that in a convincing manner. We should have beat the Dallas Cowboys. I can't remember the last time we were competitive against the Dallas Cowboys when Dak was at quarterback. The division is definitely getting tighter.
And when you're looking at the division, it's important to remember nobody has repeated in the division since 2004. So somebody's due to win it. Not named the Eagles this year. Why not the Giants? Why not us?
There's another thing to look at in the division. We have played 3 divisional games. Until this week, which is coming up, none of those other teams have played each other. So somebody's got to lose and somebody's got to, they can tie, I guess, but it's not likely. So these guys got to start playing each other, and they're going to start piling up losses on everybody. The Giants just take care of their business. They could fuck around and find themselves fighting for the division, which would be great.
They definitely are going to have to win. And it's 1 week at a time. I don't even want to get ahead of myself, but they're definitely going to need to beat, I think, to have a chance to make the playoffs. They're going to have to beat both the Cowboys and Washington when they're at home to close out the year. Those are must-win games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They have to go 3-3.
Yeah.
Cruzon says, I have a public announcement to my Giants fans who keep saying go blue all over social media. We're big blue. Go blue is Michigan Wolverines.
He's right about that.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, big blue. H50, thank you, brother. When we play a team good like this, we expose the other team. Cowboys, teams are putting up points in them. Chargers, they're not playing good after our win. I hope this is what makes the Eagles season go down the toilet.
Me too. I was thinking that after last week. I was like, I think we broke the Chargers.
Skull for the.
I was actually at that Chargers-Dolphins game this weekend. They looked pretty good. It's just their offensive line sucks, man. I feel so bad. Listen to Herbert. Yeah, Herbert's been getting hit like crazy, but he stood in there and made some incredible throws. That was an electric game. There weren't a lot of Dolphins fans there, honestly. They were it was pretty even, but it was a fun one.
Do we have any Viking fans in the chat? Skull, please whoop their ass. James, thank you, buddy. Love Dart and Scatterboo. Still think Dable is clown shoes. Hope the front office evaluates his entire resume. Credit for seeing potential, but objectively hasn't had Dart long enough to take credit for what he is. Yeah, let's just win 5 in a row, baby. We don't gotta worry about it. Let's just keep. And
again, even if Dable is the reason why Dart is progressing as quickly as he is, it doesn't mean that he's a good head coach. It means that he's a good quarterback coach, which is one of the reasons why so many Giants fans were like, we're going to love Dable because look at what he did with Josh Allen. He's a good quarterbacks guy. I think Dable's a good quarterback coach. I don't think he's the only reason why Josh Allen is successful, and I don't think that he's a good head coach. But I'm sure he's a big part of the reason as to why Dart is progressing as much as he is. I think also part of it is that Dart is a quick learner. He had some good skills when he came in. He's got a really good offensive line. And, I think he's progressing well. I think he's a really hard worker. I mean, everything that I hear about him is he's the first one in the building. He's the last one to leave. He's got the same work ethic as Daniel Jones. The only difference is he's can back it up with better play on the field.
Yeah, well, we'll see what we got. Just this is going to be a very difficult test for Jackson Dart. They've all been, though. And I feel like he's passing with flying colors. It's too bad that we had all those turnovers against New Orleans. Rich, thank you. He says, Saquon Barkley, you're disgusting. Hope Scat's success makes you cry. I would wish that Scat could just run into Barkley and make him cry. Barkley wanted no smoke. on that last drive. That's Bobby Skinner's favorite play of the year. I've seen Bobby put that on Twitter like 8 times with
Which
Saquon
one?
running out of bounds. Saquon running out of bounds like on 3rd and 7 or whatever it was. He took a 1-year loss. And I even tweeted, I'm like, Bobby, this is your favorite play of the year. And he goes, unquestionably. Because he quit. And that's all you got to show is Barkley quit.
Yeah.
Murdoch, thank you, says I was a big Kayvon critic. I watched him shed a block Thursday. He's been really good this year, but it's contract year. Well, not technically. They picked up his 5th-year option, so they do have another year with Kayvon.
But I think the Giants should treat it like a contract year and extend him now before he goes out on that 5th-year option, plays even better. And instead of owing him 20 to 25 like they would pay him right now, they'll owe him over 30 if he has another year like the one he's having next season. So I love the way Kayvon's playing, and I want to see him get extended.
I agree. I don't want to mess around with Kayvon. Provided he stays healthy and he finishes the year, I'm in complete agreement. I want to extend him. You don't let talent like that walk out the door. I'm with you.
Especially at a premium position like that. I mean, you need players in the trenches. That's a spot that is worth paying the money for.
Yeah.
Rich says, even without Dart, Joe's last 2 drafts are A grades. Joe's done a much better job last 2 years in free agency, trading. He, like I said, the cap thing he's got to work on, obviously.
Yeah.
But
at the same time, I'm going to defend him a little bit on the cap. A little bit. I think Shane still realizes that he's not in a Super Bowl window yet. So he's not doing things that he feels are irresponsible for future cap, and he's not backloading salaries. I'm going to defend him a bit on that. If he was in a window like the Eagles were, we'd have a lot more cap space because he would backload the salaries a lot more than he has. And I understand that he's extended guys like Andrew Thomas and he's pushed the money back a little bit. And Anthony's brought that up before, but I think he's been somewhat responsible with the cap, realizing where the New York Giants are as an organization. They're not yet ready to compete for a Super Bowl. So I'm going to defend him a little bit on that.
I do think he could have spent the $40,000 to elevate Lil Jordan Humphrey, though, when they had the roster spots open. And the way, like, yeah, we can go on and on about this. I think like he's done a good job with trades. I think he's done some good things. I think he's done some bad things. The roster mismanagement, like the Evan Neal being inactive, the Jalen Hyatt being dressed but not playing snaps until week 4. Like it's just some of it is so mind-boggling and frustrating. Dan Duggan said it literally cost $40,000 to elevate a person from the practice squad to the roster. I'm like, you're going to tell me you guys couldn't have afforded to do that before the Saints game?
Little Jordan Humphrey needs to stay on the roster. We need those big body wide receivers. Kevin, thank you, brother. Baddog must have missed my tweet. If I missed it, I'm sorry. I have been just fucking hammering Eagles. So to say my Twitter has blown up and I can't keep up, it's just incredible. Like every time I turn around, I got 600. I just love it. It's just funny. Guys are like, oh, wait 2 weeks to kick your ass. I'm like, you don't know me then, because I ain't hard to find. I've been here for fucking 11 years. Where am I going? Well, 11 years of shit football. I stay here and take it. That's why when we win, it's like, oh, shit. Somebody actually said, oh, Baddog used to be cool. Now what? Yeah, because you used to kick our ass, and now you didn't. So, oh, I liked you when we were beating him, and now I don't like you. Fuck off. How about that? A second for Waddle is a no-brainer. It's hard to find that type of talent in the draft, and even harder to find.
I completely agree with that, Kevin. I've seen people, and I'm curious to get
over Jalen Waddle.
I've seen people on Twitter say that his contract's too high, second-round picks a bit too. In my opinion, and you know, Bad Dog, we talked about Jalen Waddle going into that draft process.
He was my favorite receiver in the draft.
Both of our favorite receivers in that draft class, and it was a great draft class. You had obviously, if we're doing it now, you have to say Chase was the best, but going in, I was that high of a fan of his. So I'm a huge fan of Jalen Waddle. If you could ever get him for a second-round pick, I think he's been kind of hurt a little bit with the fact that Tua is his quarterback. We all know he doesn't have the best strength in the world. I think Jalen Waddle could thrive here if the New York Giants could get him in a Giants uniform.
Waddle and neighbors would feed families, right?
What?
Waddle and neighbors would feed families.
Oh, again, I don't think Miami's going to trade him, especially after losing Tyreek Hill. I don't think they're going to be in a rush to trade him. But if he ever became available, I would love Jalen Waddle in a Giants uniform.
No question. Where am I? Lou, thank you, bro. With all due respect, can we agree to disagree? Or we can agree to disagree, which is why I love sports. Tom Coughlin was on the hot seat many times.
That's facts, Lou.
True.
2007, he was on the hot seat. The beginning of the year.
So was Eli Manning. They were both on the hot seat that year.
Things turn around. So can we have a 2007 like comeuppance? Or not win the Super Bowl? I mean, that'd be greatest. But can we get ourselves to respectable again and then build from there? That would be really good. Jan, thank you. He says our O-line is going to be tested, but I think our D-line dominates. Now McCarty is ready to go. Has he gotten a haircut yet? Hoping to see Fedoni. I don't know. We'll see.
I think he's got half a haircut, right? He's got half a sack, I think.
Yeah.
But he's got, like Anthony said, I think it was Anthony said earlier in the stream, he leads the team in pressure. So it's not like he's done nothing. He's been productive. Burns is just getting the sack totals, but he's been productive. He's getting pressure.
Cruise on. Thank you, bro. Bigger need wide receiver, cornerback, or guard. 2026 wide receiver draft is deep. Corner for me.
I'm going to throw in one other need, and I'm not saying it's the biggest need, but a linebacker too. I think.
Yeah, and this is supposed to be a good linebacker class too.
Yeah, but if I want everyone to answer this one, but if it was me, factoring in the Jackson Dart's a quarterback that you want to build behind, I prioritize offense first. So that meaning another wide receiver and an interior offensive lineman would be my two biggest needs. But I'm not blind to the fact that we have a lot of other needs, a cornerback too, middle linebacker. But I want to get my quarterback off on the right foot. So I prioritize the offense as much as I possibly can next offseason.
Yeah, I'd go wide receiver. I especially think when you're looking at cornerback, it is a need, no doubt. But Cordell Flott's played some pretty good football this season, building off of what was a good year last year. Plus, that defensive line theoretically should continue to help out the secondary. So I put cornerback third in those. I think guard is super important. That's something that the Giants definitely need to look at long-term, but they might potentially have a solution long-term with Marcus Bowe if they want to move him inside. I know they like him at tackle, but I figure they're probably going to cross-train him at both positions. He's young. He's got potential. And Greg Van Roten's playing fine football right now. Wide receiver for me, that's the number one need. You've got Malik Neighbors coming off of this torn ACL next season. Is he going to be ready to go week one? Most likely. Is he going to be a little bit sluggish out of the gate? It's possible. But even if he is full go, you want another star opposite him who's also full go. You look at all the best teams in the NFL, and they're loaded with playmakers. The Giants have one right now with Cam Scatterbo. They have Malik Neighbors, of course, as well. But if you can get that second receiver and really start picking apart defenses, I mean, it's so difficult to defend. If you've got Neighbors on one outside, you got another elite receiver on the other outside, and you've got Cam Scatterbo wearing you down up the middle, that's a tough offense to defend against. Balls on that one for sure. But yes, you've also got Jackson Dart, who's a playmaker in his own right. I think a wide receiver is the missing piece for this offense.
Well, before we finish the rest of these Q&As, just say a big shout out to Sleeper again. We're sponsoring this portion of Giants Collective. They have a great promotion going on, $100 match deposit bonus up to $100 in your first, 100% match deposit bonus up to $100 in your first deposit. Let's hear from them. 30 seconds and back with the rest of your questions after this.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Thank you, Sleeper. JC, thank you. He says, Tim from Giant Straight Talk online said Abdul is small, not worth the pick, and Scott will only last 3 years in the league. Thoughts on those players? I mean, Abdul Carter can get bigger. I think
he's not even small. He's huge. He's a big dude.
He's not small at all.
He's built like a shit brick house, man. I mean, he's
Micah Parsons. I don't get that take.
Also, Tibbs is not that big either. Like, for an edge rusher, they don't have to look like Dexter Lawrence. Like, also, like Anthony said, Abdul Carter is leading the league in pressures. If you watch any of the film, everything that he does frees up Burns to get all the sacks that he's done. His spin moves have been helping him get all the pressures on the quarterbacks. He has a lot of tackles. He has a half a sack. Like, Abdul Carter was 100% worth every cent, worth the draft pick. Forever. I am a little worried about Scat, that he's probably not going to last that long, because I'm worried like he might have CTE already. And he does go so hard. I really need him to wear a guardian cap. Like, I want someone, if it's his parents, if it's Dable, I don't care who it is. Maybe it has to be Dart at this point, to sit down with him and be like, listen, bud, I love you. You are 22 years old. You have a lifetime after football. Please, please protect your brain in like the slightest way that you can. I really want him to wear a Guardian cap, but I am concerned that him out of anyone is probably not going to have as long of a career in the NFL as we would like, because he's going to have a lot of wear and tear in a short amount of time.
I think he could play without a helmet. I love him. I listen, he's short. I mean, he's 5'11" away, but most running backs are. I mean, your better running backs are always between 5'9". You don't really have tall running backs. That guy's a powerful son of a bitch. So, we'll see how long he lasts. But eventually that will take a toll on his body. But I think he's a very strong young guy. He's not 180 pounds. Okay. And he's 22. He's not like he's 27. That's the way he runs. If he lasts 3 years, it is what it is. But you can't tell the guy, hey, don't play the way you know how. Don't play the way that made you successful. Don't play like that. We want you to be cautious. Bullshit. You got to throw caution to win. The Giants been too cautious for too long, and you can't play not to get hurt, because that's how you get hurt. So just let the guys do what they do, and the chips have to fall where they may. I mean, it is what it is. Malik Neighbors tore his ACL. There was nothing he did. It's just a freak injury. Shit happens like that in football. So I would be wary of telling a player, hey, slow down. Don't, hey, Cam, run out of bounds. Don't avoid the contact.
Yeah, though, he has no choice but to play that way. That's him. That's why Scadaboo's effective. He can't do what Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he's not a 4-3 guy.
Yeah,
that's the way he plays, and that's what electrifies fans. And that's why he's a fan favorite, because we like those tough sons of bitches that are going to fight for every yard. It's a football player. So, however long he lasts, I'm going to enjoy it. If it's 3 years, if it's 14 years, win a Super Bowl.
Hey, Brandon Jacobs lasted a pretty long time in the NFL. He lasted so long that he went to another team and had a second stint with the New York Giants. So
he was also bigger than the guys trying to tackle him, though.
Well, that's true. Scadaboo plays like he's bigger than everybody.
Yeah.
Our guy Lucas, what a legend. From Dan Under, of course. Dan Under, I go Lucas. Legendary Lucas Aiken with Captain Caveman as the I don't have my soundbite for you. So Captain Caveman. You guys are too young for that. Lucas and I know. He says, what's your Mount Rushmore of Italians, fictional characters included?
We got to choose 4.
Oof.
Rocky's got to be.
I mean, all right, if we're talking,
Tony Soprano's got to be on there too.
Yeah.
And I think
Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny.
Oh, that's
Joe
good.
Pesci.
Michael Corleone's got
Yeah,
it.
Joe Pesci in anything.
Let's throw some
Joe
matches
Pesci.
into the mix. I mean, of course, you could go De Niro, Pacino. You could, but let's do DiMaggio's got to be thrown in the mix. Messi's got to be thrown in the mix. Arguably the greatest soccer player ever, right? He's Argentina. He's Argentina. DiMaggio for sure is. I think when I think of an Italian athlete, he's the first one that comes to mind for me.
A lot of good Italian soccer players. Though. Buffon is one of the best goalkeepers of all time.
I mean, I got to throw Pacino and De Niro in there. I mean, they're iconic actors. Tony Soprano might be in there too. I mean, he's I think I'm going to go DiMaggio, Soprano, De Niro, and Pacino.
I'd have to put Sonny in there from Bronx Tale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I put him in there. I love that, man. Chaz, love it. Good stuff. No Tommy DeVito.
I was waiting to see if anyone was going to throw him in there.
Cutlets. For 3 weeks, he was in our Mount Rushmore. And
Montana's Italian too, right?
Who's that?
Joe Montana.
I think so.
Oh.
There's some good ones out there.
Yeah, you could put him in there. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Not Jimmy Garoppolo, though.
No. He had his moments, but no.
He had his moments, but
he's not on a Mount
Porn
Rushmore.
star Jimmy is not on Mount Rushmore.
Michael, thank you. He says, Anthony said last week Marin doesn't meddle when he literally told Barkley, I'm not trading you. What do you call that? Sounds like meddling.
It doesn't sound like meddling because you didn't read past the headline. He said that to Saquon Barkley and then still gave the general manager permission to seek a trade anyway. Like Joe Shane still did field calls. He did talk to teams about trading Saquon Barkley after John Mara said that. So even if he said, Barkley, I don't want to trade you, he said, general manager Joe Shane, you do have autonomy to do what you want. So no, he's not meddling. He just had respect for Saquon Barkley. And Saquon said, I want to remain a Giant. John Mara assured him, we're going to do what we can to keep you a Giant. Saquon Barkley's the one that fucked that up.
Yeah. Cruise on. Thank you. He says, I asked 5,500 if they would trade Devontae Smith straight up for KT. He said, no way would you guys do that trade.
No way.
No way. The edge rusher is way too important. That's much more important.
Would they trade
Much more important than wide receiver. That's a trench. You win in the trenches in this league. So
Yeah.
give me that edge rusher that doesn't allow the ball to get to Devontae Smith. That's the way I look at that.
I mean, Devontae Smith is good, but I feel like you could find a wide receiver comparable to him in the draft. I agree. I'm a trenches guy. I don't want to trade Kayvon. I want to keep Kayvon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michael says, Rivardo, thoughts on Leonard? Heard he isn't a fan. Leonard.
I think Michael said the same thing last week. I think he's trolling me. I don't know, because I've never heard Pat Leonard mention me. I've never even interacted with the guy. I don't know what his issue with me is, if he really does have one. So.
Maybe he means that you're not a fan of him. Maybe that's kind of the way I read it, perhaps.
Well, he said last week that Pat Leonard had some problem with me, but I've never heard this, and nobody's answered this for me. I don't know where this comes from, but it doesn't really bother me anyway. I mean, the Giants aren't a fan of Pat Leonard. The Giants like me, so that's okay.
Yeah, listen, I've said before, the media personnel, they usually don't like us because, again, they steal our click. Well, they block me, so it's what it is. Michael says, Tana, whatever happened to Farouk?
They were a sponsor for 1 year on the channel, and that was it, Michael. Maybe he is trolling. Maybe you're right, Anthony.
I forgot about it. I forgot all about it.
That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah. But we didn't forget about is the ass open that the Giants laid on Philadelphia, which is fantastic. Why is this not working? Like, I'm having a hard time with my layouts here tonight. I don't know what's going on here.
Good call by Bird with the super chat. Marciano Marino too. I forgot about him. Dan Marino's another.
Oh,
yeah. We'd have to go over it because there's a lot of great Italians without question.
Yeah.
But that brings us to a close of another edition of Giants Collective. This one was much more fun as we actually won, and we're the only team in the division to win. So we're gonna get out of here. Again, want to give a big shout out to Sleeper and SeatGeek for sponsoring the show this football season. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram. It's in the description. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you being here as always. Let's win some more games and have a lot of fun this season. It would be really awesome if we could do that. So for Adriana down there, Anthony over there, Chris down there, it's Bad Diggity Dizzle. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you Thursday night. Yeah. Peace.